computer
Why
because
would something happen with my computer?
because I turned on the recording locally thing for StreamYard because
Oh,
we've never tested
cool.
that before. So
I
that
know.
means
Yeah.
you're
Okay.
that's it. So I'm ready to record. Shall we do? Oh, should we go? Are we live?
We
Yeah,
are
we are.
live.
We're live.
I went live.
Thanks.
I went live
Um,
behind your back, sort of. Right in
thanks.
front of you,
But
but
I know
behind.
behind my back or right in front of me.
Uh-huh.
Okay, are we ready?
Yeah.
To record. 4.
Oh, well, I can't do it with no hands. Hold on.
Yeah, no hands and recording is not good. You need at least
Guess
a
what?
nose.
Guess what this lipstick is called?
Orgasm.
No, but that's close because it's NARS. It's called Unrestricted.
Oh, yeah. I saw. Well, I know NARS has all those names. Like I
I
was just,
know.
and the only reason I know that also, because there's like orgasm, and then there's orgasm 2.
I had a bit one a long time ago where I was naming a porn star brand of nail polish, and I had such good ones. It was like cream pie and blue balls. I'm amazing.
I don't
I
want to
could go
even.
all day. Pop your cherry. Anyway, all
Oh
right.
my god.
Okay.
Oh my god. Okay.
I'm ready.
We were
I'm
gonna
ready.
record. So I mean, yeah.
I'm
So
ready.
4, 3, 2, 1. Press record.
I have done so. Hello, Elsie.
Hello, dude. All right. Watch, dude. Did your nail fall off while you were eating whatever was in your finger?
No, it was a bacon bit that fell on my boobs. So I ate it.
All right, bacon bit. Here we
I mean, we
are.
can just get into it with. Wait, okay. We're in LinkedIn. We're in the group. We're on YouTube. I guess
Correcto.
we can't do the page too. I guess I don't know which I like
I
better. The
think
page
that
or
we only have 3, unless. Can you add another one? I don't think we
no,
can
you're
add
right.
another
You
one.
can if we upgrade, which we've been doing it for free for so long. Why bother?
No, dude.
Wait,
I'm
it
paying
is
for this.
What?
Yes, I've been
But it
paying for
says
this.
I have to upgrade.
Yes, because you own for $25 a month, you get 3 places to stream and
What
all
else
of the
are
things
you?
that we get.
What else are you paying for that I don't know about?
This is it. You already
This is
took
it.
away the She podcast thing that I was paying for, other than
Yeah,
the
because I
fact that,
moved it.
yeah, because all of a sudden it was like, oh my God, I'm paying.
Gonzo. Do you want access to it, by the way?
No.
Okay. And just in case. You don't even want to look back there? You feel
No.
that strongly about it? All right. Do you want to start with something since no one's watching, like something else?
Something else. What are you talking about?
I've been thinking about doing a comedy, but like I think I would I've been thinking it should be anonymous so that I could say all the things I really want to say. Like I can't say anything
Jessica, we've
mean.
already talked about this.
Oh, that's right. You said I had to disguise my voice.
I even talked, you know what? I actually talked to my kid about it. I talked to May about it. And I asked her, I was like, what do you think anonymous means? First, that's what I asked her.
Okay.
And she was like, and she gave me an answer that was, that was true.
Anonymous?
Right.
Okay.
And so I said, what would you think if Jessica said she wanted to do something anonymous, but she didn't
This is so
disguise her
interesting.
voice? And she was
Yeah.
like,
That's dumb.
that's
right?
not anonymous.
Thank you, baby.
Yeah. So she was like, yeah, that's not anonymous.
No, it's not. She's right, but I don't want to sound weird though. Like it's hard to. I did find an app that could disguise your voice. Let me see what it is. Hold on.
Yep. I get that, Jess, but then
It's
that
called
at
Voice
the same
Plus.
Yeah.
All right.
And you
but
can
how
do
you...
it. You can do it on the stuff. Anyway, we should record because we
No.
don't have time
We
to
are
not
recording.
record.
We
No.
are
We
recording.
should. I know that, but we should like start the show.
Okay. Oh, right. Okay. Ready?
Okay.
Okay. Hey everyone, welcome to She Podcast episode 389. I am your co-host Jessica Kupferman. With me as always, today she is pretty in pink, Elsie Escobar.
Woohoo!
Elsie is like in cheerleader mode. She's doing like halftime show shit right here.
Yeah. Also, this is OG.
Yes, she's
Vintage.
wearing the OG logo.
This is vintage logo. If anybody's watching us today, this is vintage She Podcast logo. This is where it all began, people.
It is. I forget that it's Bevan, I think was the name of that
I
font.
can't remember what the name of the font
You
was.
don't care, but I do.
No.
Anyway, so yeah, looking good, looking good. We have so much to talk about today. And
What? What?
hold on.
What is
So
happening?
I accidentally sorry, I made a funny face. I
Yes.
accidentally opened Apple Music, and then when I
Okay.
went to close it, I
Yes.
heard music and I thought she was playing a soundbite. So I
Oh.
made a face like, why is she playing music right now? Then I
Oh.
realized she wasn't playing music, it was me.
Oh,
Anyway, that
I
was a
see.
long pause for no good reason. I'm sorry.
That was scary. I was like, did somebody say something in the chat that I
It
can't
probably looked
see?
like I
Because you
sat
were
on a
like
bee.
stunned. You
No,
were
it
like
probably looked
very
like I
stunned.
sat on a bee, but no. Okay. So, I mean, without further ado, we may as well just get started because Elsie's right. We have so much to talk about today. And I don't know, should we do business first? The first three are kind of business, and then there's news. So there's business and then news and then opinion. This is like a whole magazine right at your ear tips, your
Right at
earlobes.
your ear tips. But first of all, I think we should just go down that, like, because some of this stuff isn't necessarily discussion, but it's more about calling attention to some things that have happened,
It's
and
business. That's why I said it's business.
it's
Business.
business. Oh, okay. All right. Well, first of all,
Go
I'd
ahead. You go
love
first.
to first give a big shout out to Headliner. Headliner, shout out to you all. Do you know about Headliner? So, Headliner is an app, essentially like a web app, where you can create what folks refer to as
Audiograms, right?
audiograms. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
there's some, like, if you want, your to create a little video thing with a little like moving, whatever you call, graphical depiction of your audio with a static background, that's an audiogram that you can add from your
Yes.
podcast and stuff. So Headliner, yes, it's so cool. By the way, you can start with $0 there. They have a free account.
Nice.
And so a lot of podcasters use this to create video versions of their audio podcast. And they've been around for quite a long time. It's a really great tool. I've used it for quite a few years now. But I don't go there often because now I have people who
I have it
edit
too,
my
and I don't
show.
go there often either because I
Yeah.
stopped doing audiograms. But I
Yes.
mean, there's no reason
Correct.
why you have to stop, just that I ran out of time to do it. But anyway,
Yes.
we
But
had a
anyway,
surprise.
we had a surprise. We were tagged on Facebook, both you and I, Jess, by our
Mm-hmm.
friend Clay
Clay
Groves
Groves,
from
yep.
the Fish Nerds podcast. And he said that what did he say? He said something like, I was getting mad that I had to sit there and wait for podcasts while my show was
Yeah, while something
processing.
was loading.
Yeah, what was processing. It's because what happens is you put your podcast in there and it takes some time for it to process. Like video files take time to
Right,
process. So it
right.
was taking time to process. And on that screen, when things are happening,
Yeah.
there are these little podcast episodes that just pop up. I guess they've created audiograms off of our stuff, Jess.
I know.
And
It's so cool.
it is so cool. So he shared a screenshot with us, and it was from our last episode 388, Slippers and Sequins.
Yep.
And he was like, oh my God, this is so great. And it starts playing. And I thought, oh, wow, that is so cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I know. That's really nice. Thank you, Oliver. Thank you, Headliner. Thank you for doing
Yes,
that. That's really nice.
it
And
is
we're
super
very
nice. I just
flattered
hope
and
that people found it funny, I guess.
useful,
Useful,
helpful,
helpful.
funny,
Hey,
entertaining, not
there's a
boring.
not boring. Yeah, there's a podcast that we can listen to. Anyway, thank you, shout out. And then that's something that you can, anyway,
Yeah.
that's something
Thank
that
you
they're
so
doing that's really
much.
cool. Yeah.
Yay.
Woohoo,
All
woo,
right.
woo.
Yeah, that was really cool. And thanks for shouting us out, Clay.
Yes.
Also we participated last week in
2
the
weeks ago.
indie. No. Really?
Yeah.
We recently
Yes.
Recently, we participated in something called the Indie Pod Summit, and if you're connected with us anywhere on social, you've seen me ask that you fill out a census about independent podcasters and their preferences and some information about them, so that we could learn some stuff, and we learned a lot of stuff. So we just wanted to say thank you to Colin for inviting us to partner on the Indie Pod Census Summit and Census.
Summit and Census, correcto.
There was a key
Really
focus
good.
on independent podcasters from around the world, and the goal was to answer what's next in the podcasting industry. And we had a lovely panel. It was Elsie and I, Ari Nissenblatt, and the woman who was the moderator. What was her name? Alicia?
No, oh my gosh. Uh, it starts with an A. I'm so sorry. Like right now, I'm forgetting,
Hold
and
on. I don't
it's
remember
making
either.
me
Hold on.
get so mad because
You're just gonna have to, honestly, John, you're just gonna have to edit this because it's insulting that we can't remember who the fuck she is. Hold on. Melissa. No.
no.
Allegra.
Allegra. I knew it was an A. I was
And
gonna
our
say Alexa, but I was
all
not
right.
Alexa.
Let me
Okay,
try that
Allegra.
sentence over. So John, you can get rid of that, okay? Because we didn't mean to do that. Sorry.
Sinclair.
Allegra Sinclair. Yes. So anyway, so we were super excited because we were on a panel with Ari Nissenblatt. It was me and Elsie, Ari Nissenblatt, and our moderator, which was Allegra Sinclair. And she was so smart. And everyone was so smart. And I have to tell you, the last couple panels I've been on have just been a delight. And it's never long enough. Like just being able to talk about some of these issues with people who are, maybe slightly different in experience, like as far as where they are in the industry, but like have been doing it as long. Absolutely delightful. I've learned so much in the last month just from I was on 3 panels this month, and it's been great. I love it. So thank you so much for inviting us to do that and for partnering with us. It's been absolutely delightful.
There's that census is going to be, I think, very impactful. I think that they've really created something very, very special, and have gotten quite a bit of information in it. Now, the entire census, the entire report with all the data, is going to be published in March. So you
Okay, good.
still don't know most of the stuff that was discussed. We are going to have a link in the show notes. And for those of you who are watching live, I did drop a link in there. I'm not sure if you could still sign up to get access to some of these discussions, but the panel that we were a part of there were so many people like in the chat talking. It was amazing. And I also had what else happened? Very, very cool. Oh my gosh. Jessica, you are messaging me. I'm gonna have to switch. Sorry, John. Hold on one second. I'm gonna keep on talking, but give me a moment so I can switch this so I don't get any more text messages from my co-host who just exited the building fairly quickly. All right, so I'm gonna continue talking about this. So this data that we had access to it before it was released. There were 1,258 respondents. They took 21 data points. There were 10 plus partners, and there were over 800 people who attended or signed up for the summit itself. And part of the information that was grabbed in there was gender and participation in podcasting, ethnicity. I have the stuff in here that I'm not going to reveal for you here. Location, as in geographic location, age, which to me was one of the most astounding pieces of information that we discussed during this summit. They also gather stuff about household income, podcast experience, which again was also quite an interesting bit of information. There was also feedback in the sense of, this was the question that was posed: how do you feel about the amount of feedback you receive from your listeners? And in fact, I'm asking that question to you all. If you have thoughts around that, and you can tell me like, oh my God, it was like amazing for me to know all of this information, or from my listeners are totally knowing me and all of that stuff. Go ahead and put it in the chat, or even email us at feedback@shepodcast.com. Because one of the biggest pain points that they had was the fact that, oh, look, I'm moving all my things here. One of the biggest pain points that was had is the fact that people don't get too much feedback. And I'm wondering if you guys would know that. What else was there? Podcast format, video. They had so many questions, y'all, about video and how to do video stuff and what podcasters are actually doing with their video. They asked some very, very key questions. So you must keep your eye out about the Indie Pod Summit because it was unbelievably great that they put it in there. Mind you, it is, I believe, they're going to be known as the Indie Pod Census maybe moving forward because it is more like that. We want podcasters to be counted. We want podcasters to participate in this. And I think one of the key things that Colin wanted to do, Colin Gray, who is basically, I think the key person who created the IndiePod census is that we really do need to get more information outside of the northern / western hemisphere of things, more of the Eurocentric podcast producers, and really move to the rest of the world and get some insight from all of those podcasters, because it does become a little bit of challenging to really get a clear understanding of who the indie pod folks are. What else is there? I think that that's about it when it comes to the Indie Pod Summit. And while Jess exited the building, by the way, for those of you who are listening, she needed to exit and she will be back. And so I am here by myself taking over all the things. Another shout out. This time it's about the Africa Podcast Festival that happened on February, what was it? February 12th, I believe. February 12th was Africa Podcast Day. And I will be sharing about Africa Podcast Day, or we will be putting it in the show notes, a link in the show notes, because they had the entire live event streamed with an incredible amount of live streaming, amazing programming that was also around some data. So there was some very specific data around, I'm assuming that Edison Research participated on that and possibly either did some I have not seen it, by the way. I'm going to put a link in the show notes as well about this. Some data possibly around Black creators, maybe not necessarily specific to the African diaspora, but possibly Black creators as a whole. And that really stemmed or led into a panel discussion so that you get an opportunity to understand exactly what that data is all about. So it was really, really awesome. I am so glad you came back.
I'm so sorry.
It is a very interesting thing to just
I had an emergency.
Feel like I'm glad you came back. We're now talking about Africa Podcast Day that happened on February
yesterday.
12th. And was it 12? Yeah, February 12th.
It was yesterday.
Today's the 13th. Yeah, that's right. And it was a delicious day. Lots of really wonderful things that I shared as much as I possibly could. And all of the links will be in the show notes so that you can get an opportunity to check that out. I would also suggest for you folks that are interested in any kind of this stuff, put this already inside of your yearly calendar. Things to keep an eye out, especially for next year on February 2024. This is a fantastic opportunity to support podcasters that are outside of the US and be a part of the celebration, and in some way for us to be able to amplify these voices that often we don't really see when we are so gosh darn Eurocentric sometimes, just moving into the northern hemisphere. We kind of like stick there for a little bit. There's so much stuff happening in podcasting that is not here.
Yeah.
So yeah, now let's go ahead and discuss the article that I found on Wired, and I shared it here with Jess. The title of this thing is called "The Workforce is Failing Women. Business Leaders Can't Stop It."
That's right. So the article is just about how, since the pandemic and maybe even a little bit before, the working situation for women in this country has become much more apparent. We're exhausted. We're underpaid. We're constantly battling for basic rights. They call it a she session instead of a recession. It's a she session. 1 in 3 women are looking to downshift their careers, leave the workforce entirely, joining millions of women who have already done that this past year. So it's like a global, the global labor shortage and caregiving crisis straining workforces already. Smart leaders will invest in reversing the she session by making structural changes, by paying us more, by being more flexible. It also mentions how like a lot of companies are still more worried about how often you work from home versus in the office instead of like, you know, when you work. Because even if you are working from home 9 to 5, I also agree it's stupid to have to, start at 9 or start at 8 or start at 7 because that's when your bosses are doing it. When you have to get kids to daycare, and we should just be able to work when we're at our best. My best time is between 10 and 2, I think. That's when I have the most energy. It's when I feel the smartest. Um So yeah, and then in the morning, I mean, honestly, if I have nothing to do in the morning, I do a lot of diddling. But it also means like I have to like, why did this all of a sudden become about me? I don't know. But I was just gonna say I have to build in diddle time. Let's go back to the article. Go
Oh
ahead,
my
Elsie. I'm sorry.
god.
I don't know why I just totally made that about me for
I
no
think
reason at all.
Well, I think that the point of the article is what you pointed out earlier when we were reading about this, that this is according to some to research from Slack's Future Forum Consortium. It shows that flexibility ranks second only behind compensation. And obviously
Yes.
it's particularly true for parents, right? And working parents as what Jessica was talking about there.
Yes.
And part of it is really interesting here where it's there's also another quote here that I was like, very interesting. It says, quote, 95% of female desk workers want flexibility in their schedules, more choice in how they structure their days, aside from the occasional appointment out of the office. And the majority are not getting that option today. Now, one of the key, obviously, this makes sense for all of us, right, Jess? You were just talking about you've got a younger kid that you are taking to school
Mhm.
and bringing him home from school. So there are some sort of general understandings of the morning you got to go in the morning, go drop him off, and you got to go in the afternoon around whatever 3 o'clock to pick him up.
Yeah. Yep.
That's just the schedule most people have. But then
Yeah.
there's people like me who homeschool the kids,
Right.
and we don't have that. We actually, like, to me, speaking about when you were saying like my best time for me to work is XYZ, my best time for me to work is from 6 to about 10 in the morning. That's when I get a really huge chunk of work done.
But when I
Um,
met you, you guys were going to bed at 11 and waking up at 11. Like you weren't ready
yeah,
to
we
work
were.
until almost noon when I first met
Yep,
you. You made a
exactly.
conscious effort to switch that around.
Absolutely. That
Yeah.
was the schedule that I was doing. When I had younger babies, you're totally right. When I had
Yeah.
younger babies, I pushed myself almost to like exhaustion, and it really wrecked my health. What
Yeah.
I was doing is I was staying up and doing hefty lift of work from about midnight to 2 a.m. every like morning by
Yeah.
myself with either the baby sleeping or the baby quietly nursing with me. And I was just like typing away during that time. And I got a lot of work done, but it wrecked me. It wrecked my
Yeah.
mental health a lot. And so I did switch it around, and now my kids are bigger. So I have older children that I set their schedule. They, for the most part, do the majority of stuff they need to do on their own
Good.
for school. And I still, the majority of the work that I do with them is feeding them and getting them out, like to go walk around and things like that. But I also have, Randy is very helpful with all of this stuff, but we do the majority of their engagement in the middle of the day. And at that time is when I have the majority of meetings. So I do a big working in the morning and a big working probably from like 6 to 8. And that's when I work. So it's kind of like a sandwich.
Yeah. You have
And
a
that
work
works for me.
sandwich. I kind of have that too because he comes home at 3. and we piddle, he does homework, we have dinner, and then when we go upstairs to bed, I work again.
Yeah.
But I try
Now
to do all the stuff the dumb stuff at night. Like I don't try to strain my brain to be creative after like 5 p.m. But I do make spreadsheets, clean stuff up, organize my folders, or like, if I have to like duplicate, like for example, and I didn't make these, but this is just an example, like speaker graphics, right? Like
uh-huh.
it's like 100 of the same graphic, just putting in different faces
Yeah.
and different, yeah. So I just stuff like that I do late at night because it's easier.
You
You
know
should
what?
learn about your brain and when it's the smartest and when it's not the smartest. And you should always work within your own, even if you have to work from 9 to 5, you got to figure out when is the best time for you to meet people, when is the best time for you to get a lot done, when is the
Mhm.
best time for you to stare into space. You need
Yeah.
that, right?
And also not knowing what thing um drains you the most, because like
Yes. Uh,
if there's like when I have meetings back to back to back to back meetings, it is so hard for me to have like let's say 3 meetings in a day, even if
mhm,
there's a gap in between, and then get off and keep work like this. It's too much. Like it's way too much for me to do that's why I like to work from about 6 to 10, because
mhm.
usually at that time there are no meetings, usually.
Right, right, usually.
In the morning, you know what I mean? And so I can get an opportunity to get a big chunk of work done, and it's such a blessing now. Now, but let's continue talking about this specific issue that I have felt, because I've never really worked in the office. Like I've been working at Lipson for so long, and I only worked in the office for less than a year before my first baby was born. That was the only time I worked in an office. And it was such a new experience for me, because I've never in my working career ever worked in an office, that it was kind of neat. I was like, I'm going to the office. They had that
Yay!
sense like, hey, me. And so I didn't even know like what you're supposed to, anyway, whatever. That's a whole story for
I
another
hear
day.
you.
But so I've never worked at an office before, but all of the rest of the years I have, and I have felt this, and I didn't know it had a term. So I'm going to read another sentence from the article. It says,
Yes.
quote, but proximity bias, favoritism for people who work nearby in the office, is a looming risk that leaders must actively negate. Why? Our research shows that women, employees of color, and working mothers are most likely to want to continue to work flexibly, while men, white employees, and non-caregivers are more likely to go back into the office full time. Left unchecked and without intentional action, disparities in the workplace could deepen, entrenching existing inequities. End quote.
That's because those men can't hang.
No, what do you mean can't hang? Can't
They
hang at home? It's like they're like, no, I
they
gotta
have
go
a
to
new
office.
baby and they're like, I gotta get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, and I mean, but that that really calls attention to some very interesting things, and also it could be an inequity in the sense of also ageism, right?
Yeah,
Because I have a feeling there's going to come a point for like 40, 50, 60-year olds that are in the workplace. They're moving to a place where they're like, I've already been there, done that. I'd rather have this experience. Whereas the
yeah,
new folks, the younger generation, the Generation Z's, coming into the work environment, even though they might feel more at home being sort of at home doing the work, that's also very isolating, and they're just starting to create their social life. And
right.
truth be told, a lot of the social life for most of us
Revolves around
happened
work.
in the work, right? So not being able to go eat with your colleagues, or have people around you all the time and work together and find that way of like co-working and building relationships physically with each other within the work environment is something they're lacking and they're looking for.
But
So they
wait,
might be going to school, to school,
I
to
don't
work a lot more.
necessarily agree with that, and I'll tell you
Okay.
why.
All right.
Because this generation, like, did I ever tell you, like, I graduated college and then I went back and taught a class at my university, probably like let's say 15 years after I
Mm-hmm.
graduated. And I noticed that like So I was looking around and I said, "Is anyone missing it?" And they are like, "We have no idea if anyone's missing," because they walk around with their phones and
All
with
right.
headphones. They don't know anyone in their classes, which also means to me they don't know anyone at their job.
Maybe.
They don't socialize the same way. I think they find their friends wherever they find their friends, but I don't think they rely on interpersonal, in-person experiences for social life anymore. I mean,
But do you think
not the way we did when we were younger, because we
but
didn't have, we couldn't be entertained and eat lunch by ourselves. But now you can.
this is true, now you can. Yes, so I get that, but I think that there's also going to be one of those I feel, personally, Gen Z is incredibly smart, right? And they're
Of course,
really, like, driven, and they, like, fight
they
for
are.
things, and they're like, "This is the way it's supposed to be," right?
And
They're
they're
like that kind
yes,
they're like, "Ugh."
they're
So
self-righteous and
yes,
in a good way, not in
yeah,
a that's not an insult. It just means that
exactly. It's a
they have
good
the
thing.
balls to stand up for what they deserve
Correct,
in ways
absolutely,
that our generations just took it.
right.
Just bent over and
But I
took it.
think given that, they are going to begin to recognize that there's something to be said about real life interactions, building relationships outside of their phones, and
Yeah.
they will, I promise, I'm making a
I mean,
not a
there is
guess. How
something
do
to
you
be
say it?
said
Like
for that.
a huh?
I mean, there's no substitution for real life
Right.
interaction.
But what I'm saying to you is that there's a lot of generations that haven't even done that because of the pandemic or before of where they were before, like it's
Yeah.
upended things. And therefore, they are going to turn back into themselves and go, hey, maybe I should not be looking at my phone so much. Maybe I
Good
should
luck.
connect with other people.
Good
Maybe
luck.
we can create another type of a movement that is outside of the scope of how
Maybe.
they were moving in. I think this is
Hey,
going to happen.
you
And
have to drag them by the hair and take the phone away if you want this to happen. They can't even
no, no,
have it
no.
if you
I have a feeling it's going to be an intrinsic move. I'm telling you now, might as well put it down on paper and I have
I'm
said
not
it. I have said
I'm
it.
not disagreeing with you. I'm saying in order to make it happen, we're going to have to force them.
No, no,
But
no.
once they're out,
We are
they're
not
out.
going to force them. We are not going to force them. They will make that choice for themselves.
I don't know if they
I
will.
do
They
agree
don't
that.
know what it's like to have this kind
Exactly,
of
but
interpersonal
they will
interaction.
make that choice for themselves.
I
I
don't think
I
they
promise
can.
you, they'll hit it. They're gonna hit a wall, and they'll recognize there's some missing stuff. I'm telling you, they're smart. They know
Yeah.
exactly what they're doing, and there's going to be a point. It may not happen in their 20s,
No.
but it
But,
will
like,
happen.
I'll give you an example. Like, Isaac is recently into video games. We got him a Switch for his birthday, and we got him, like there are some games that have, like, mini games inside. So, just to say, he has, like, an unlimited supply of stuff to play. Unlimited. We bought him a couple games that he wanted, and then some things that were free, and then, we plugged into something that had 50 more games. The amount of times he says he's bored playing games. I'm like, because your brain, this is boring to the rest of your body, to your soul. It's just boring. You have to. So we put the thing away, and I got for my birthday, I got like a dice, but it's like an Uber dice set with like bowling pins and like a cup for Yahtzee and like Jack, Queen, King dice. And we started making up dice games, and he was the happiest I've seen him in a month,
But Jess,
not playing on it.
you're
But
talking,
I had to make him though. I had to make him.
yes, but he's 7.
I know he's 8, but this
Okay.
is
Okay. No, I'm not talking about 8-year-old.
I know, but
What
my
8-year-old?
25-year-old is the same way though. Nate's the same way. I have to be like, put the phone down and look at the animals with your eyeballs.
How do you
Stop
know
taking
he doesn't do it on
pictures.
his own?
I don't.
He doesn't live with you. He might
He
be
lives
doing
with me
that.
sometimes. I mean, maybe. All right, we'll
I
stop
mean,
making this point now. I get what you mean. What you
yeah,
mean.
that's
think
all I'm
you
saying
think
is
there's
that,
going to be a resurgence of? I mean, and I hope you're right, and I feel that way already. So I hope that it's everyone, not just younger people.
but
Because I already feel like it's too much.
it's a lot. It's a lot of stuff for, especially for younger folk. But anyway, that's a really good article. If you guys want to read more about it, it was published on Wired All of the links are going to be in the show notes so that you can read up on some of the conversations there. All that to say that I do feel that there's going to be a restructuring of what work looks like. And I hope that there is an actual shift and that people do recognize the difference
Yeah.
in creating the freedom and being able to empower, the type of folks that for whatever reason they don't feel like they can make it into the office. There's just so
Mhm.
much around that. Oh my gosh, Kim, it's so nice that you're here live. I'm so excited. Yes. All right. So now we are going to be talking about I have a new show, Jessica Kupferman.
I am so excited. What is it?
It is called The Fuzzy Logic Show, and logic is spelled LAWGIC. Oh my god. So in the next, it's like an ending podcast, if you will. Like it has an end. We're gonna be doing 10
It's
episodes.
limited series, I think is what
Limited
that's
series.
called.
That's right. Limited series. And it is going to be addressing legal, social, and ethical topics
Mhm.
that are very important to creators like us. So anything that has to do with podcasting, YouTube, social media, things like that. Folks that of us that are creating things for online. My co-host is Gordon Firemark, who is the podcast lawyer. And it is being put together. This is when I have to once again sorry, John, you will be able to do this. Hold on. Oh my God. It is all of these notifications. No, I don't want to try it
Oh
for
my
free.
god.
Hold on. Okay, here we go. It is being produced by Numo Spect Media, and we go live at 11 a.m. Eastern on Friday mornings on
Mhm.
YouTube, LinkedIn, and I believe Facebook, and maybe other places. I'm not sure. And it is going to be so great because we get it to really go deep into one issue and see it from all kinds of really different perspectives. So our first episode was all about AI. How about that, Jessica?
I can't wait to listen to it because I'm all about AI right now.
Yeah, and it was a really great conversation. I'm not sure if it's going to be on audio though, so you might have to go over to LinkedIn and look at my stream and put it on, or I'll give you a link and then you can put it on in the background and you can just listen as we're discussing. But
Right.
it was a really wonderful conversation because I do feel that, the whole chat, you cannot go on the internet and not find Chat GPT or
Right.
OpenAI
Right.
somewhere. Right?
Right.
Like everybody's talking about this. It's crazy.
It's
So it's
everywhere.
everywhere. It is.
But it's
I'm
cool.
so shocked. It is crazy. So what are
Wait,
your
why?
thoughts? So what are your thoughts? No,
What are you
because then
shocked about?
what are the latest things that you have found out about
Oh my
AI
god, so much.
as it pertains to your work? And you can do it real quick.
Okay. I mean, I've learned a lot, but basically what I like to there's a couple hey Kim, there's a couple things I like to use it for as a starter. I've had it make complete automations for follow-up automations for when people make purchases, follow-up automations to remind people to do stuff. I've had it create a website outline for me. I had it create website copy, homepage copy, title, subtitle, introductory paragraph, my own personal bio. Although, it all needs tweaking.
Yeah, yeah.
You can also ask it to do social updates. So write me 20 posts with engaging questions for podcasters. Write me 20 posts with quotes about flowers. Write me 20, and I usually do 20. You can say 50, but it takes them a minute to do 50. So you kind of want to do 10 just to see if they are getting the point before you do like a big stack like that. I've been playing more with art. Last night I was playing with art because I wanted a specific pattern for something and I couldn't well, I couldn't afford to buy the thing because it was too flippin' expensive. So I wanted to
Mhm.
it myself, and I needed a similar pattern. So I was trying to get Night Cafe to create this, vintage yellow submarine, like weird mod pattern. And I got better at that than I have been in, I started doing art first, and I sucked at it so bad, but I'm getting better at it now. And also, just so you know, I know a lot of different chat tools, and I've been playing with a bunch. So I have Chat GPT. I also, and these are all free accounts so far. Copy.ai, Jasper.ai, which is like, so copy is clearly, like all kinds of copy. And then Jasper is copy, but it's like sort of more on the business vibe. And then a Quillbot, which will take something, anything that's been written, and rephrase it. And it's actually a Chrome extension. So no matter what you're writing, if you're in an email and it has a suggestion to rephrase something, it will like underline it for you. And then when you mouse over the underline, it'll say, or you could say it this way if you like this better.
I
It's
love that.
amazing.
That
So,
is amazing. You
hey,
gotta
so
do
yeah,
you
so I mean,
guys.
I know that's so nice.
Hmm.
So yeah, so I mean, I mean, AI has just been so cool, and that's not even hashtag generation. I mean, like, first of all, Chat GPT by itself does all of it. And the more you use it, the more it understands what you do. So now I just have to be like, give me a video idea. And it knows I'm working on awards and I'm working on an event and I'm working, and knows about Shoot Podcast. So it'll just talk to me like a person. It has full memory of everything I've asked it to do up until this point. It's amazing. I love it. I cannot say enough. That's what
I
I've
like.
delved into. But I'm also bookmarking stuff on LinkedIn. I probably have about 200 different tool lists
Mhm.
or tools in a list, because there was one LinkedIn post that I copied that was like 150 AI tools of all different kinds.
Right,
And
right.
then it's like the best ones for marketing, the best ones for art, the best ones for, social media. And I'm just bookmark. Someday I'll have an enormous spreadsheet. Oh, I think I even bookmarked a spreadsheet with an enormous list of AI
Oh my
things to
god.
play with.
I like.
I'm not trying to be an expert, but like once I dive in, I'm swimming for a long time.
Yeah.
I don't get out of that pool until I am fully swam out, and I'm not nowhere close so far. What about you? What do you think? I mean, I guess I could just listen to the episode. I don't even want
In
to
the
ask you.
episode, no, in the episode, since part of it is that I see the power of it, but of course, because I am me, and it's one of the reasons that I said yes to doing this podcast is because the show is because I'm a huge advocate for looking at the cultural, social, and ethical implications of tech. This is something that I live and die for, and it's it's
Mhm.
the first thing that comes up. So we really talked about a lot of the bias. We talked about the ethical problems that could arise from something like this. We talked about
Yeah.
um, all of what it can get wrong. The power of something like this, especially as it starts to be because I think that the biggest issue that I mentioned is the fact that because it has become such the hot thing for a lot of tech companies, the push for getting a product out fast
I know.
is
That's true.
it's leading the way. I mean, with the fact that all of a sudden, Google came out and they're like, we have a thing. And then the next day,
Notion. Yeah, I know.
Microsoft released the Chat GPT or OpenAI integration within Bing, and the reason that Google did that is because they knew Bing was going to be released with this OpenAI integration with it, and so the fact that these services are putting things out so fast means
You don't
that
know
they
how
are
long they've been
not
working on
checking.
it. You don't know how fast it's been done, though.
No, no, no. And that's the thing. It's like you cannot say that because
You either.
even in the presentation with Google, they got facts wrong in the darn presentation.
Probably because they've been working on it a while. Just guessing.
And how is that
Because they didn't go
like
back and look at their presentation. I mean, look, it doesn't
and
matter who's right.
listen,
The point is, no
I
matter
get
with your
I'm telling you have just listen, you have just I don't need to hear anymore like,
I
"Let's go
wasn't
all in.
gonna
This
tell it.
is amazing."
I
It's
wasn't
like,
gonna say that. I was
"Holy
gonna say
shit."
I agree that people who use it, I mean, like I am always someone who takes ethical, ethical uh steps to make sure that I'm doing things in an ethical manner. So like I'm not going to assume that everyone does that, but they should. You shouldn't let it just write your shit for you. You have to infuse your own personality and use some of your own words. It's very easy to tell when like something's been written by AI and not you. So it's just a starting point, but like if you but you using it to organize stuff
Yes, I get
is
no, Jess,
different.
I get
I'm not
that. But
trying to
like
sell it. I'm
yeah,
just
but the
saying
whole I get how helpful it is. Believe me, I'm going to share with you how helpful it's been with me. What
good.
I'm saying is that we have to go into this recognizing that there is inherent bias into this because the way that it's pulling the information,
What
it's
kind of
pulling the
bias?
information that it's already because historically
What
excluded
kind of
voices in
bias?
there. The IA only delivers what it
Oh,
already has access to,
of
excluding points of
course.
view. It
Of
replicates
course.
what it currently exists.
Of
Creative
course.
and thought leadership theft, appropriation continues to be a massive problem, especially for the Black community, and
Of course.
adding in, indigenous and people of color as well. There's no receipts.
Of
There's no way
course.
to go back and give credit or even to verify the source. So all of that needs to be looked at like head on
You're
and to
right.
recognize that.
100%. You're right.
So that's what I mean. And because it's being done so fast. Anyway, I
You're
think we had
right.
a great
I didn't even think of
conversation.
that. How would I?
In Fuzzy Logic, we really discussed all of this, and Gordon Firemark really brings in all of the direct, like legal issues that are arising with AI and things for us to be looking into because it's not just copywriting. This could be AI that is being implemented by financial institutions. Like you are being pre-checked for something, you are seeing if you can get a loan or not a loan, and it's all through AI. And then you have to tick a box and they're going to know either yes or no. And maybe you have something that doesn't quite match, but you're still going to be under one bucket. And it's going to just, you're not even going to be able to get in the room to be able to get whatever it is that you want. So there's lots of things to think about it. I do have like a summary of my thoughts about it in the episode. So you
Mhm.
guys are going to have to go listen. Again, I'll put a link in the show notes. Melissa can do that for us. But I'm not totally like, oh, scary. I don't want to move from a place of fear. And I see how helpful it is. I haven't been using other than Chat GPT. I downloaded a client
Mhm.
for Mac that
Mhm.
is called Mac GPT, and it really is just
Ooh.
an app. It's about $10 actually, the app itself, and it just lives on your computer. And so it's an app that connects to the web version, and so you don't have to be going in the browser and doing the stuff. It can just be off to the side.
Mhm.
I've been using some of that, but also what I've been using is the Notion. So Notion AI, or is something that is now out. So now, for those of you who use Notion, which is oh my god, I don't even know what you call it. It's like a place where you do everything. It
Yeah.
like it you. I don't even know. I don't even know what to call Notion. But anyway, go over to notion.so. It can do
It's a
so many different
project.
things.
It's a management system. It's
Yeah,
a
but it also publishes websites and you can keep like, I mean, it just says so many things. It's crazy.
Yeah, what do you call it? What the fuck do you
It's
call it?
everything. It's like a place to do things, all kinds of stuff. But now
Yeah.
there is an AI engine. I believe it's still in beta. I got access to it because I applied to be part of the early adopters or whatever. And so now you can ask it to do stuff inside of Notion and it translates stuff and it creates outlines for you and it does all the stuff. I just recently wrote a love note for the Libsyn blog, which
Hey,
I will
hey.
share with Melissa here. It's not live yet because we are not past Valentine's Day, but it'll be being published tomorrow as we speak on Valentine's Day. Um,
Excellent.
and there was a couple of sentences, you know how I write, Jess. Like I write sometimes and I use a lot of words. And
Yes,
sometimes
you do.
I
Maybe
have
too
extra.
many, some would say.
Yes, some would say that. And so there were a couple of like chunks of paragraphs where I looked at it and I was like, I know what I'm saying, but there's way too many words here, and I'm not quite sure how to restructure this one sentence to say the thing. So I just copied and pasted literally 6 sentences and went
Mhm.
into Notion AI, and it, like, I think it's called Write Better. I don't know what it is. There's like a prompt, and
Okay.
it just rewrote it, and I was like, "Yes, that's what I meant. Thanks." And so, like,
Yay!
I just copied and pasted it into my work, and again, it's a really long blog post. It's super long, but there were a couple of things where I'm like, I don't know what to do with this, right? And so
Yeah,
I
yeah.
just it was so great. And also I'm going to be participating in a Spanish um event. It's called
Mhm.
Pod Festival or something like that. And they needed
What?
me to give them a bio. And I haven't updated my bio in a long time. I had it in Spanish, but I also wanted to have my new bio. And I was like, why not use this thing?
Why
And so
not?
I went
Indeed.
in there and it wrote me this lovely Spanish bio. And mind you, I am fluent in Spanish, so it's not like I just sent it to them. I read it
Mhm.
and I was like very impressed. I was like,
Nice.
exactly, yay,
Yeah,
good for me for being all those things in Spanish too.
yeah.
So
So it just wrote it for you, that's amazing.
yeah, it did. It just translated. No, I already had it. They translated it for me.
That's great though.
It's great. I loved it. It was awesome. So
Translation is gonna be key as well, I think, for
yeah,
sure.
and so in that respect, there are so and it saved me time. So I get everything that you said, Jess. It's true. It is. But we also talked about, in the conversation in logic, which is why it's so good. We really dove into how awesome that is, and at the same time, how many jobs is it going to affect, right? How many of the medial jobs out there is something like Chat GPT going to take away from folks, right? Even though it is empowering for some small business owners to save some money, they're not longer going to be having to outsource for some things,
Mhm.
right? It also is taking away income from some folks that had been doing that. So it is going to be upending a lot of that as well. Is it
Yeah,
going to replace all the things? No. In the same way that folks were afraid that all kinds of things were going to be replaced, right? It's
yeah.
people are always afraid of change. But one thing,
Always, and
oh,
I mean, not just afraid, but, like, protesting, being
mhm,
dragged. It's ridiculous.
yeah. And so, but one thing that I think Gordon mentioned that I thought this is great advice, especially for folks who are hired to write, let's say, tweets for somebody, or do all of that sort of mundane thing that a lot of small business owners outsource. Um, it really behooves those people who had to
Behooves.
take those jobs to get very, very, very aware and educated on all of these services, because being able to use the AI services is going to be something that people are looking for, right? If you
Yeah,
do hire
totally. It's
somebody,
a skill.
yeah, it's a skill, absolutely, and if you
Mhm.
know how to ask it to do things, and if you can even like, to
Produce
have a
from
partner
it.
who can do that, yeah,
Yeah,
it's
or yeah, they're going to be eventually hiring someone that can specifically produce with AI
mhm,
effectively,
effectively and
without
knows
fiddling, right? That's why
exactly,
we're diddling now, is so that later I can be like, "Here's what you say. Here's what you
right,
do. Here's what you ask it. Here's what you
exactly.
don't ask it." Right.
And so even with you, like, think about when you were talking about the artwork thing, what if there was someone who was quite adept at using whatever tool you were using, and they're like, "I can do that for you." And they
Mhm.
did it for you and saved you, and then
I
just
know.
got you exactly what you wanted. You'd be like, "Thanks for my time back," right?
Ah, la, 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 la. Yeah,
So
of course.
you it does I think part of what I said at the end of our recording was that we have to go into it. Like, you can't say, "Ooh, scary," and just step away, or "That's so weird," or "I don't know how to do it." Like, you must. And I think for me, I kept talking about it from the perspective of my kids. I can't deny a technology that's going to be part of my kid's life.
No, you can't.
So
You just might as well learn it.
yeah, because it is incredibly important to be able to
Mhm.
be adept at that.
I
So,
agree 100%. Good for you, mama.
oh my God. Anyway, that is and I'm going to put yeah, I think that we have links to all of the things in the show notes for all of
We
that, but
do, we
I think
do.
we have a show. Shall we call it a day?
I think let's call it a day. Yeah, what should we call today's show, do you think?
Oh my God.
Let me see.
Something
What
with it,
should we
something
call
AI.
it?
Maybe we should ask Chat GPT.
I call him Chad. Um,
Oh my gosh,
uh,
Melissa, you can ask Chat GPT in Notion how
I know.
to write our show notes.
That's actually new, but I gave her a course to take on chat.
You should do it like you test it out on Notion, Melissa, and see how it writes our show notes. It
Yes,
might save you
interesting.
some time for this because
How
it's
would it
already
do
got
that without knowing what we're
she can
talking
just
about?
write the bullet points in there and
Oh,
ask it to
yeah.
do a summary for the
Oh, that is a
episode,
good
have
idea.
the
That's a
links.
good idea,
Yeah,
Melissa.
like
Mhm.
super. Yeah,
Well, let
it's
me
already in there.
close out, and then I guess we can figure out the title. Thank you so much for listening to episode 389 of the She Podcast. If you want to send us feedback about today's show, please do. You can find our email. Our email is feedback@shepodcast.com. You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Pinterest at She Podcasts. Don't forget to join us in person. Speaking of being in person, this summer in Washington, D.C. at the MGM National Harbor, June 19th. Go check it out, shepodcastlive.com. What else should we tell them to do? I think that's about it. Thank you for listening. Oh, our show notes are on shepodcast.com as well. So thank you so much. And we love you. Love
Mean
you.
it. Mean it.
Mean it, mean it. Bye.
Oh my
Okay.
God, squeal. Squeal me. Okay,
All right.
stop recording on the thing.
Hit save.
Oh, crap.
What? Yeah, I noticed that earlier. Are you looking at
What?
the recordings in StreamYard? I think it ended early.
No, not
Oh no, it
that.
said it's uploading.
Yeah.
It said
No,
over
it's
earlier.
no, it's like
What's so crap? Did you not record?
no, no,
What?
no, I recorded, but I had issues with my microphone
Oh shit.
and not today. Another day, and I turned off the compression on
Mhm.
it,
Mhm.
and I have no limiter on it, which
Okay.
means I'm blown out. My audio is a little bit blown because
Oh
I get so
no.
excited talking to you. So
Aw.
sorry, sorry.
Aw.
I get very. I've only recorded with Rob, and with Rob, I'm not as and
Relax.
energized
Oh, yeah.
as when I speak with you.
That's kinda nice.
I mean, I'm a lot more like, so let's talk about. I mean, I don't talk like that. Who am I
No,
kidding?
you don't.
No,
But
I don't talk that,
alright.
but I don't get as excited. So I
Well,
gotta make sure that
you and I have a very special relationship. That's
that
probably
sounds.
why.
That doesn't particularly sound exciting.
It sounded a little over the appropriate line, but
Yes.
anyway.
Yes.
Listen, if I could, I would
Okay.
marry you. It would make life so much easier, and I think we would get along better.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure because we are
But,
both so ADHD. We would drive each other nuts.
I mean, that's true. We've never even shared a room together, so we have no idea how we would live together.
You are correct. Yes,
I know it would smell good because you always have something smelly in your
I
room
do
that
have
smells good.
good smelly things.
I know wherever we live, it would smell really good. And
Yeah,
also,
but I'm
there
a
would be a
mess.
lot of good food from both
I'm
of
a
us.
I'm a me yeah, I'm a huge mess.
Mess
Yeah,
too.
yeah. I'm a mess.
I'm
It's
a
like
mess
it's
too.
very hard for me to like yeah.
I know, me too,
And I
me
don't
too, me too.
listen to things in the same way you don't listen to me. Like I mean, meaning you don't listen to things like I don't listen to things. So you would tell me things 50,000 times and I would forget, and then I would tell you thing 50,000 times, and then you would forget, and then I
But
would get mad,
because
and
we're
you would
not
get mad.
romantically related, there's no emotional attachment to you forgetting. That's why I think it would be good. That's why I
Mm.
said if I could, I would. Because I don't need you to listen to me in order to feel heard by you, if that makes sense. You know, like
Oh,
there's this
right.
whole underlying, like, you don't care about what I say. Like, I don't care if you care what I say. I want you to hear it and I'll just repeat it, and I don't care. Like there's this whole
Right.
underlying like sexual romantic thing that, like I said, if I could, I would, but I can't. But I still think it would be more fun than the situations we're in now.
Actually, I like my situation.
I do too, but
Hey.
you know what I mean. It's just a lot of work. That's all.
Yeah, no, I get it. I get it.
Don't forget, I live with my mother-in-law. Okay, so it would be
You
more
are
fun.
correct.
Trust me. All right,
All
we're
right.
gonna end this now, my friends. Sayonara, sweethearts.
Sayonara, everybody.